So this guy, I don't even know if we should get started or just hang out a little, because I mean, it's just. I'll give you a little sample, though. I mean, look at it. Just take a look at this guy. I mean, just take a look at what we're dealing with today. Look at this guy. Ha! Yeah, he's like James Unworthy. It's like, looks like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wait until you see him talk. It's amazing. He sounds like he has two mouthpieces in. I mean, this guy's brain, even though his head is massive, there's no way his brain isn't like 1/4 the size of his skull. You'll see. Daily Dono, thank you. Deliver the atheist some logic. Well, this is gonna be funny, dude. Chad says, Jimbob, don't Google Jordan Peterson Grandma Dream. Oh, Chad, you must be new here, because I've done probably 5 times I delivered Jordan Peterson's Grandma Dream in Jordan Peterson's voice, which is even more disturbing. You should know. It's even more disturbing when I do it. Be sure to hit the like button, y'all. It's just a tiny little island off the coast of Sicily, Jortlandia. Nobody visits, but when you come here, you stay. So, all right, let's get me a little smaller here, and we might as well head into it. I was gonna tag this guy, but I kind of read him as the type who would like try to like take your channel down or something. He's got that air to him. I mean, look at him. Look at those pretentious, squinty little eyes. So let me see let me start with. What do we got here? Here we go. Let's do this. I don't understand. What is it with the kind of design the neutrals seem to lean toward? It's always like this, like, the typeface is always like a hair salon. It's like a bad hair salon or a bad barber shop. Everything looks like a bad, poorly designed barber shop. Why is that? Mr. Peterson, how do you feel about these atheists? Look, some of you are figuring it out that I'm just as good as an atheist. I might as well be one. Recently, when told I was a Christian, I said, well, I didn't say that. All right, let's get into this guy's baseless emotional assertions, shall we?
There is no hate like Christian love.
Oh gosh, you're gonna start off with that one? Oh, this has got to be good. Can you do a hook shot for me though? Can you do a hook shot? Hey, how's Magic Johnson doing?
Because when love is weaponized, it becomes the sharpest of swords. You've seen the banners.
Yeah, motherfucker. There's no love, there's no hate like Christian love. Oh, yeah. JB Belterra, $2. Looks like Ice-T undergoing chemo. Dude. I mean, who chose the glasses? I mean, what? There are so many choices you could have made.
Love wins.
He's got, dude, both of it. He's wearing 2 different mouth guards.
God is love. All are welcome here. On the surface, it feels warm and inclusive. But what if I told you that same rhetoric is being used to enforce control, silence questions, and even demand hyper-forgiveness of repeated abuse? Today, we're peeling back the velvet covering to expose how love has become shorthand, not just for care, but for control. Because when they say all are welcome...
Durante Lamar. What's with the apostrophe on the end there? You guys just think apostrophes can be used anywhere, anytime, for no reason at all? How is that loving?
Here, What they're often saying
He's got white grills.
is that all are welcome to submit. Are you ready to unpack this?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm ready. Are you kidding me? I've never been so ready in my life. I was born ready. I'm born to ready. D apostrophe ready. That's me.
Go ahead and let me know in the comments where you
Oh yeah, I'll let you know in the comments right up here now.
think we're headed with this one. Let's define how love language functions as a tool for conformity and silencing dissent.
Oh, like y'all don't do that with the troon stuff
In many
and the gay shit.
faith communities,
Sounds like a massive projection. Apostrophe after the end.
love is more than an ideal, it's a brand language. Love rhetoric is the specific use
You mean like love is love? Where did we hear that from? Deontay Jamal? Durante? Derange? What about love is love? Glasses ain't big enough.
of words and phrases
Oh,
that
your glasses ain't big enough.
signal unwritten rules like true love submits.
Oh, she's still here?
Sal Gargini. Hey Bobby Butternuts. Is it true that all Sicilians are half neutral?
Well, I'm one part neutral. I don't know about half.
True love waits, true love forgives all.
yeah.
Cast any objection as unloving. If you loved us, you'd comply.
Oh, you mean like if you love gay people, you don't speak out against their behavior? If you love troons people, you don't call them out on their delusion? Like that? You mean like that?
And cement group identity under the claim that all unity flows from love. Now, the core components of love rhetoric are universal appeal. Claiming love as a universal good makes it impossible to argue against without seeming heartless. But then there's also emotional authority, framing directives as acts of love. We do this because we care. This sidesteps logical critique. And then there's also taboo creation. Once love is invoked, questioning the rule or practice feels like
Dude, I would love to debate this Kareem Abdul-Jabbar looking motherfucker. I will Bob Cousy this guy.
betraying the community's highest value. Some examples of this is we just love you too much to let you stay where you are. Our real love will always correct you, even if it hurts.
Do you have any arguments?
Only unloving people refuse to see it this way. You just can't see how much we love you. Each of these slogans sound caring until you notice how they demand compliance and punish doubt.
What's wrong with compliance?
Now let's discuss how it silences dissent. Emotional override. When someone claims
You mean like if you don't affirm my pronouns, I'll do this to myself? You mean like that? Are you talking about that? Durante. Like that? Are we talking about that? No, we're not talking about that.
I do this because I love you, your emotional resistance drops. You don't want to reject genuine care, even if it's conditional. It also creates moral leverage. Labeling criticism as unloving turns any question into a character attack. You either agree or risk being seen as cruel.
Yeah. Well, no, Durante Lamar. What do you see is happening currently with your progressive atheist people, your cult? What's happening in that cult? Well, you're getting a splintering because people are transgressing over this exact thing. I mean, the level of projection here is quite astounding, honestly. It's almost like a joke level.
And then there's also social risk. Since love is the community's highest value, challenging a love-based rule feels like sacrilege. So most people stay silent.
That's what's crazy is that the progressives have hijacked this term love, universalized it from their own point of view, and do exactly that, where Christians actually don't do that. We're actually rigorous with what's love, what's loving. Loving, we include intervention. We include dissent as love. You guys don't. This is a massive cope, Kareem Abdul.
Now that we see how love rhetoric
James Unworthy.
sets the trap, let's unpack how it enforces conformity.
Let's unpack it. If I use the word unpack, it automatically gives me some sort of legitimacy. I'm going to unpack it.
Over community. The objective is to show how weaponized love creates pressure to conform by making dissent feel disloyal. So
You don't say.
the core assertion here is when
You don't say. Jordan, $5. Point your index finger up and look at it facing the fingerprint side. Look at the top segment of the finger and back at the guy. Dude, that's funny.
when love is wielded as a tool, it functions less like care and more like a command. You either align with the group or you betray its highest value.
Who cares? Who cares? What's wrong with pressure, bro? What's wrong with pressure? What's wrong with conditional pressure, dude? You're making all these claims and making it sound like it's awful, but well, what's wrong with it? Nothing. Well, I'm going to impact that.
I mean, care at
What in the world is dissent loyalty? Yeah, he's just making shit up and acting as if his own group, in-group preferences don't hold to similar methods and tactics. By the way, what's wrong with any of them?
as a reward for compliance. We'll
It's not iced tea, it's spiced tea.
keep loving you as long as you stay within these boundaries. There's also a moral ultimatum, presenting dissent as an assault on the community's moral fabric. If you truly loved us, you'd never question this teaching, which also leads to
I also honestly don't hear that ever, and I grew up in all sort of fair variety of Christian expressions. No, I've never actually hear that mostly on the left side of things. I rarely, if not ever, heard someone say, if you love me, then you won't ask questions. I mean, what are you talking about? You're just a liar. You're just lying.
collective shaming, imprinting group judgment on those who hesitate or object.
And this guy, by the way, has just an amazing array of things to choose from. I mean, look at him. Depostrophe has so much deconstructive, how to deconstruct, why the listen to this one. Listen to this one.
Your inquiry.
This one's hilarious.
Twist. That question, it assumes way more than it asks. It assumes that whatever you call God is real enough to matter. It assumes action, attention, relevance even. It assumes that existence is enough to justify worship. But let's flip it. Let's say that God does exist, silent, invisible, never showing up. Would it even matter?
Would it even matter?
If the divine is indifferent to suffering, invisible in injustice, mute in every moment you needed it most,
What are you talking about? What kind of stories are you telling, bro? What are you saying? A Christian wouldn't say that God's doesn't show up. A Christian wouldn't say this. A Christian would. This is why you can't be Christian ultimately and be a Unitarian and reject the divinity of Christ, because the knowability of God as incarnate is an action in the world. So you don't have to accept it, Lamar, or whatever your name is, Derange. You don't have to accept it, but you're not actually steel-manning the Christian position.
what's the difference between that and nothing? So maybe the better question isn't, does God exist? It's, why are we still asking? Now, don't get me wrong. I know the question feels important. It shaped your childhood. It shows up in every hymn, every sermon, every God's got a plan for you speech.
It's also the basis of your entire channel, Durante. Did you notice that your entire existence online is dedicated to something that you don't believe exists? Who's bigger of a fool? We believe God exists and we arrange our life accordingly. You don't believe God exists and arrange your life completely around his non-existence. You lunatic.
It's the question you were told not to question, because doubt That was the devil's work. But what if pulling on that thread doesn't unravel the meaning of life? It just reveals who's been stitching the story. Today's not about mocking belief. It's about dissecting it, tracing it, asking what happened.
I would love to debate this guy. His standard, he's a pure, I mean, by so far what he said, it's like everything is evidentialism, empiricism. And I would absolutely destroy this guy in a debate. I'm not actually going to reach out to James and be like, I want to debate this guy.
When we stop treating divine claims like they're above investigation.
Stream and the sound doesn't match? It doesn't? Is it lagging? It might be. You got to refresh.
Because behind the God
deranged Waynes, that's funny.
Question isn't just theology.
Demon Waynes.
It's psychology. It's power. It's history. And
you're just saying words, man. You're not making any arguments. You're just saying things. It's power. It's history. It's psychology. Is memorology. Is numerology.
Maybe.
I'm not saying a damn thing. I'm just saying words that sound right.
Just maybe it's time we stop chasing smoke and start naming the fire.
Wow. You're a shitty poet. The origins of belief. I can't wait. I can't wait to have him tell us the origins of belief.
Let's talk about why the question fails. You ever notice how asking, does God exist, feels like asking, is the tooth fairy paying my rent this month?
No, it doesn't feel like that. And even if it felt like that to you, your feelings are irrelevant. Now get some sleep. Get some sleep. You look like you have 3 mouths on your face. Rest up.
It's a question that feels deep because we've been told it is. But look closer.
What?
That question assumes that the concept was ever meaningful enough to deserve verification, that it came from evidence, from sincere inquiry, from something real.
Well, God isn't an evidential claim, the same way saying knowledge exists or truth exists is not an evidential claim. You egg-headed knuckle dragon, moon dragon.
But
do you have any evidence of, I don't know, triangles?
it didn't. It came from pattern-seeking brains in a thunderstorm.
Well, that's weird because pattern-seeking brains seem to follow the pattern. The pattern of humans is that we come to believe in God. So how can you argue against a naturalistic pattern, dude? This is how quickly their entire epistemology falls apart because they argue patterns, and then they reject that the patterns exist. Well, you shouldn't be confused that people believe in God because from your own view, it's a naturalistic pattern that is determined. What are you talking about, dude? The pattern is humans believe in God. That's the pattern. Why ought we abandon the pattern of humanity, Kareem?
It came from firelit stories and tribal feet.
You dummy. You're so dumb. Atheists are so stupid. They really should be ridiculed more of how stupid they truly are. They're so foolish and so arrogant in their foolishness. It's so, and this guy's the one who, the reason I'm targeting this guy is because I saw a clip on Instagram where he was like, don't debate Christians. Oh, how convenient, James Unworthy. How convenient, Demon Waynes. I don't debate, because you would get Kareemed.
Years.
He won't debate. He already announced he won't do. Not only he won't debate, you coward. Why won't you debate? You seem to be already wearing protective eyewear. Where do you go to fix your glasses? The local mechanic shop? Like Christ is God, $2. This guy looks like an alcoholic Samuel L. Jackson. Yeah, he looks like Samuel L. Jackson in hospice.
Agency detection, your brain seeing a rustle in the bushes and assuming it's a predator. Not because it was, but because it could have been. That's where God was born, not a miracle.
No, that's not where God's born. The argument for God's existence is for the preconditions that bushes and things could do anything like that to begin with. I mean, no. God, this is so stupid. I mean, this is the lowest tier shit. And no wonder these people announced that they shouldn't debate Christians. You shouldn't debate Christians. I'm not going to debate Christians, he says. Yeah, because you would get completely wrecked, dude. I'll even raise money to debate you. I'll raise, like, whatever, $1,000, and I'll give you 500 of it if you debate me. Belief in God was born out of a rustling bush. Really? So the jump is naturalism, which is your entire framework, Lamar. Naturalism tells us why we believe in God, and it's because of a rustling bush. Because we didn't know what something was. And therefore we said, wait. So his argument is that I heard something in the woods. Instead of thinking it could be a predator based on back knowledge, he's saying God was born out of, because I don't know what it is in the woods, it must be God, and that's the birth of religious belief in God. Interesting. Atheist fish. I see no evidence. I'm wet. Right.
In maybes, not in revelation, in reaction. Humans didn't discover gods, we invented them.
Humans replace God with truth. This works every time, by the way. Any of your atheist friends or any of these maggots on YouTube who run this argument, they say humans invented. Okay. Why is it that humans didn't invent truth itself then? Why do you believe in truth and knowledge and information and meaning? If God is in the same category as these other immaterial things, truth, all logic itself, where's the evidence of logic, Lamar? Oh, you have a new audio book? Black non-believer? Unbelievable. You're disgusting. That's your book, Black Non-Believer? Well, I'm black, and I'm a non-believer. That makes me interesting and special. Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait to hear how unique your non-belief stance is, being that we added the black part. You disgust me.
Because fear plus ignorance equals meaning if you say it loud enough.
Ignorance plus fear equals meaning if you say it loud enough? Dude, you're not even a good slam poet. You're not even good. Like, at least some of these other babbling fools have some sort of, like, some skill in their rhetoric, right? This is just babbling. This is like drunk uncle watching the kids do double dutch. I mean, this is like 7-Eleven guy stops you at 7-Eleven. And before asking you for money, he wants to give you some wisdom. This is bad. He borrowed those lenses from the Hubble.
So now we're here centuries later, still treating that speculation like it deserves cross-examination.
Then why do you have a channel, dude? Why are you pretending that it's not worth your time when your entire identity is black plus non-believer? You're the fool.
Still pretending the courtroom is full when nobody ever showed up to testify.
What? All of these stupid analogies and metaphors, this is all you have. This is garbage.
That question, does God exist, is not a starting point. It's a distraction.
What?
Long before Moses allegedly claimed stone tablets, before Jesus supposedly broke bread, before the Quran dropped bars in the desert, there were lightning strikes, predators in the dark, children dying for reasons no one could explain. And in those moments, what did we do? We reached for stories. We projected minds into the unknown. We didn't understand the storm, so we imagined a storm god.
Earthworm Jamar? Earthworm Jamal. Is that adult Steve Urkel? I don't know what's going on with this guy.
Didn't understand death,
It's the dumbest analogy I've ever heard in my life.
so we invented a gatekeeper.
It's all low-tier rhetoric. It's really bad, dude. This is why he doesn't debate. He would just try to use this stuff debating, and he would just get completely destroyed.
On the other side. And don't get it twisted. This wasn't evil, it was adaptive. When you're trying to survive without science.
What's ironic is he's telling a story. So his criticism is Christianity or God belief in general spawned out of not understanding, out of ignorance. It was a God of the gaps, he's basically arguing. That all belief in God is God of the gaps. And it's a story. And yet here he is telling a post hoc story. He doesn't know any of this to be true. He can't track any of this to be true. There's no argument that it's true. He's actually crafting his own type of pseudo-creation myth for something that exists, something that is questionable to exist, in this case, God. But the same critique would have to apply to things like truth and logic and reasoning and meaning and the rest, right? He would fit his own. He would fit inside the same category as a religious person by doing what he's doing. What he's doing, according to his own system, is completely fabricated and illusory. He's doing counter-apologetics, which has to also be a creation, a complete coping mechanism. Honestly, if theism spawned out of fear, and he has a fear for what Christianity or religion brings to society, he has to then bite the bullet and say he himself is acting out the next wave of this fear-based creation system, this complete fabrication of. Is there anything really wrong with spawning religions out of fear and ignorance? I mean, what could possibly be wrong with it from a naturalistic perspective? How could it be possibly wrong, or even why even argue that holding a false belief? This is the question I asked Danny before Phil had his little 20-minute blow up on from Pierce Morgan, and Jordan Peterson. He called in once. I don't know if some of you remember this guy, Danny. He called in, and all you have to ask an atheist is a simple question: why ought we hold to true beliefs as opposed to any other belief that serves some utility? They will go silent. They cannot answer this question. Ask any of your atheist friends, family. I don't recommend debating your family, by the way, but this is the question that none of them can answer ever. Why ought we pursue and hold true beliefs? Because they're arguing, don't believe in gods, it's a false belief. Okay, cool. Why not? Why hold a true belief over any belief that offers any utility at all? Arbitrary, by the way. Totally arbitrary from their view.
Reason becomes optional, and comfort becomes mandatory. Here's the twist, though.
Yeah.
Those gods didn't evolve
Luke, I am your father.
from truth. They evolved from terror. Gods didn't descend from heaven. They climbed up out of fear. Now ask yourself, if a belief starts as a survival tactic,
so bad.
does that make it true or just temporarily useful?
He just debunked all of science. That's the thing. It's exactly what I'm pointing to. Temporarily useful. So, what if all of these myths that you're trying to argue against on your silly channel that has the vibe and the aesthetic of a terrible barbershop in the mall, by the way, terrible. I mean, this is bad. This is like someone who designs yearbooks level aesthetics. If anything's useful to believe in, why not believe in it?
Because let's be honest,
Let's
most
be
deities
honest. Games Earl Jones. Dude, the Egyptian kings be spitting facts for row. This is what comes of a society that is too polite to tell idiots off, right? They start to think any crap out of their mouth is meaning or something. Yeah, this whole counter-apologetics atheist cult is hilarious. It's hilarious now. It's so broken. It was always low tier. but at least they try to present it with some level of class and dignity, with you know, the four horsemen or something. But it's really degraded. It's really degrading a lot. So it's fun to see, though. That's for sure. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. This is what happens when you grow up with a single white mother. You know he's half, right? I don't know why he included in his book black non-believer if you know that at least 25% of him is not black.
Sound less like universal truth and more like emotional life rafts we kept patching up with dogma. And when science starts replacing fear with understanding, the gods didn't disappear, they just got sneakier. Less thunderbolts, more theologies. They just slipped into new language. Less fire from heaven.
Oh my gosh, you're so dumb. I have to go to another video because I mean, it's going to be just as dumb, but seriously, this is dumb. Let's see what else he's got here. For the deconstructing thinker, religion, this should be.
Never learned because religion.
Oh, what a surprise. You have one of those hats. I couldn't have guessed. No, I can't believe it. What?
Got there first. What if every tool.
What if you zoom in on a statement that still doesn't matter?
You needed to thrive, your critical thinking, your drive, your sense of fairness was.
Do you think this guy, when he stops at a stoplight, the squeegee washer guy actually asks if he wants his glasses cleaned also?
Quietly taken.
This is bus stop homeless level.
From you by religion. Today, we expose the 9 life-changing lessons religion stole and
oh gosh,
how to get them back, starting now. For as long as you can remember, you've carried a quiet.
I'm surprised he can read this well.
Weight. A voice telling you to doubt yourself, to seek approval before you.
Bet he loves Reese's Pieces.
Act.
I freeze them. You ever freeze Reese's Pieces?
To wait for permission in the form of miracles, signs, and wonders. Maybe you've held back on your ideas, afraid they weren't holy enough, or felt guilty for wanting more knowledge, more freedom, more fairness.
Dude, the zoom in, just stop. It doesn't, you're misusing it anyway.
Chances are you've wondered why your ambition felt sinful, your questions felt.
Zoom out now? What, dude, what is going on? Who's your producer? What's happening here?
Dangerous. Your empathy.
It's like if you're going to do a zoom in, make it count.
It felt conditional. That's no accident.
What was that, 13%
Religion
zoom?
didn't just ask for your faith. It quietly.
Dude, chill! Chill.
Rewired how you think, how you choose, and how you grow. Today, we're breaking that spell. Not with arguments or data.
Yeah, not with arguments or data. That's right. At least he admits it. Not with arguments.
Not yet. But by shining the light on the real cost of lessons you never got to learn. Because until you see how much was taken, you can't reclaim what's rightfully yours.
Oh my gosh, this guy is so full of shit. I mean, it's like Maya Angelou. The scientific. I bet this guy doesn't even know the scientific method. You don't want to debate me on the scientific method, buddy.
1, the scientific method is not for the lab. It's for life.
What? It's for what? What?
Scientific method is more than white coats and test tubes. It's a simple, powerful toolkit. Observe what's happening around you, ask a clear question, form a hypothesis, if X, then Y statement, and then test it, and then revise based on what you learn. These steps aren't just for scientists. They're for anyone who wants to ask better questions, challenge assumptions, and build a life based on evidence.
I'm sorry, buddy, but you can build a life based on evidence where it basically leads you to, I don't know, depopulation, tyranny, terrestrial gain by force, war. If I use force, I can take whatever I want. Here, look, I'm doing science, you guys. I did science. I'm a scientist. Mao Zedong, sick scientist, bro. Hey, Jim, saw Raging Tomato has a live stream coming with someone claiming God isn't necessary precondition for knowledge. Thoughts? Well, they're going to lose. Well, depending on who they're debating anyway, they're going to lose. There's no other view one could posit, absent God, that can account for, in a coherent way, the preconditions for knowledge.
Many faith traditions say, accept without asking, believe without proof. If you
Proof is a mathematical term, you dummy. All of induction is not based on proof. You believe. It's based on belief. All of science, ironically, is based on faith in the future being regular like it is in the present and what you recall it to be in the past. By the way, recollection, Lamar, recollection is faith in your sense evaluation and data. When we remember something, when we think we remember something, we're putting faith without evidence into our recollection. We're putting faith into it. There's no evidence or proof that what we're remembering is correct. We're assuming it. This is such low-tier shit. No wonder this guy doesn't debate. I would eat him alive.
grow up taught that divine revelation trumps everything, you learn to dismiss evidence and ignore skepticism. You swap curiosity for obedience, and the habit of questioning reality gets stamped out.
This guy has no argument. He just has bad zoom-ins.
Now imagine
Dude, stop with the zoom-ins, man. It's not even a real zoom-in. It's like, what is it, 15%? You're supposed to zoom in at key moments, maybe, and you certainly don't zoom out. You can cut out to a wide shot, but if you zoom in and it's not a key moment and you don't deliver on the key moment, like a smile or a key point, and you just keep randomly zooming in and out, you're not doing what you think you're doing, bro. This guy's all stories and rhetoric. He wouldn't laugh. That's why he says, Jay, he doesn't debate. That's how I found him. He was like, don't debate Christians. They don't earn your attention. By the way, my entire channel is dedicated toward Christianity. It's like, what?
applying this approach to your
Corny Abdul-Jabbar.
relationships. Hypothesize why conflicts arise.
Yeah, I call this guy James Unworthy.
Experiment with different ways to communicate and then learn what actually works. Or even to your
learn what works. This is my favorite atheist cope.
career.
Learn what works. Okay, believing in Christianity works for me. End of the debate, dude.
What works, huh?
I'm sorry, dude. Does the belief in human rights work for society? Of course you would say so. Yeah, right? Okay, cool. Cool. Any evidence of human rights?
Yeah, what do you mean? You need evidence for human rights? Nah. Oh, are you denying human rights? That just shows what kind of Christian love you have. I see how it is. There's that Christian love again. I was born by the river
Test small
in a little town.
side projects before quitting your day job.
Stop zooming, dude. Stop zooming.
Iterate
Just please. Please stop zooming.
quickly instead of following a blueprint you never questioned. By thinking like a scientist, you speed up your growth, avoid repeating the same mistakes, and make choices rooted in what works.
This is like some weird alternative universe where reading Rainbow got like super tilted. Imagine this was a children's show. That's what it feels like. I feel like I'm watching Da Blippy or something. You know what I mean? It's like if someone was like, you see that Blippy show? You see Blue's Clues? What if we do that for adults, but it's for atheists?
He was like, damn right. I'm about to do that.
Not what you were told.
The cameraman is hard. I don't know what's going on with the camera, dude. Who made these choices?
So here's a few ways to own this back. Number one, run some mini experiments.
The scientific method for life. By the way, there's nothing in the scientific method. There's nothing in the scientific method, Da Blippy, that tells you how to live life. At all. There's actually nothing in the scientific method that says to value the scientific method at all. Wrongful Rage, $10, thank you so much. But without the zoom-ins, you wouldn't hear the words because that's how fools think. God bless everyone. I'm going back to working on my repentance. The stone path won't make itself. Thank you, Wrongful Rage. Appreciate that.
Pick a habit you want to change. Form a testimony.
Oh, self-help? Wait. What? Pick a habit you want to change. Now he's getting to self-help? What's going on here? Tell Mufasa that if we look at the evidence, feminism is bad, democracy is bad, and Christ is God. He is risen. Yeah, truly is risen.
Hypothesis. If I journal for 5 minutes each morning, my mood will improve.
Your mood will improve if you take drugs. Some people's mood improved when they ate brain custard, you freak. Do another zoom and I dare you. Apostrophe.
Track results for the week and adjust. Number 2, seek counter evidence. Ask yourself regularly, what would I need to see to change my mind?
Okay, cool. I did an experiment, Blippy. I lived a life for 15 years not believing in God, and I didn't like the results. I started believing in God. I converted to Orthodoxy. I was baptized, glory to God, and now I value the results. Blippy. How can you possibly refute me? How could you possibly, you just ended your own argument against Christianity? Because if I demonstrate through my own value assessment, right? I'm the one running the qualitative analysis of the data, and I'm going, I like this better. I like it better raising my family Christian. I like it better living among Christians. I like it better. I like civilizations better that are downstream derivative of Christianity. I ran the tests. I look at the old tests. I look at the empires. I like it better.
Well, I guess I can't really argue about that. I guess I guess I don't have anything else to say.
This is the type of guy that people started to listen to because of his voice and was convinced he was smart. Yeah, this guy's a real dummy. Real dummy.
Actively look for information that challenges your belief and current understanding.
Stop zooming in for the love of God.
Number 3, celebrate iteration. View every failure as data. Revise your approach and then try again.
Cool, I do that. I do that with Christianity. Isn't that wild? I do that with theosis. I do that with humility. I'm trying to do it with fasting right now. Failing. Trying again, failing. How's that inconsistent with Christianity?
When you reclaim the scientific method, you stop living on faith alone.
What? No, you don't.
And start...
Dude, the entirety of induction is based on faith and assumptions. Your own reasoning is faith-based.
Building a life grounded in discovery. Let's get to the next big one.
Big one? Let's get to the next big one?
Number 2.
You didn't even think to maybe restate that?
Cause and effect is the why.
Cause and effect isn't the why. That's a how. That's a how. Now, to be fair, how and why can often be, colloquially at least, interchangeable and synonymous. But for these bigger questions, what occurs, and like how it occurs is an explanatory thing of what's actually causing X. Why it's the case, for instance, understanding boiling water and how water boils is a how question. But why is there a law where water can boil to begin with is a much bigger question that he doesn't want to talk about.
Every outcome has a story, a chain of events that led to where you are right now.
Wow, so deep, bro. Are we doing the butterfly effect? Are we going to get into the Matrix?
Understanding
Especially with the zoom-ins, bro.
causality is recognizing that nothing happens in a vacuum. When you see how choices and circumstances ripple forward, you gain clarity on why things went wrong or right.
No, that doesn't tell you what's wrong or right, okay? By your own standard, you know, Little Mustache Man or Stalin or anyone else could just examine what went wrong or right, and they can correct it, and they can do it better next time. They can do their genocides better. The slave owners, Blippy, could look back and go, you know what, we're going to learn the mistakes they made. We're going to do it better next time. You can't argue against it, dude. Treat failures as data. Does he know his data? The missing data.
And where you have real
I don't observe any data.
power to intervene. This reflective
My data left me when I was young.
lens turns you from a passive recipient of fate into an active architect of your own life. Too often, faith traditions attribute success and failure alike to divine will or God's plan. When hardship strikes, you're told it's a part of a grand design, not a product.
Dude, this guy's all over the place. By the way, there's no bigger grand design that would match or at least parallel God's grand design than evolution. This is what's so wild about these people. You just replace how, in their view, what the Christian does or any other theist perhaps does generally and say, well, there's a great grand plan. It's outside of my full understanding. There's some level of naivete, mystery to it. Fine. But how is that different than evolution anyway from their view? It's like, from their view, we're just inserting a being that has a grand scale design and a telos. To him, he's rejecting that there's even a teleology.
Just teleological.
If there's no teleology, there's no correct path, let's say following a Christian view or a Buddhist view or Islamic view. They're all just reflections, iterations, epiphenomenal effects of nature itself unfolding. No real direction, which defeats his whole argument against Christianity and any other faith, by the way, because anyone who holds his view, cause and effect, cool. From your own view, guess what caused theology? Evolution. You're going to argue with cause and effect? If they try, they're going to fall into Hume's guillotine. They're going to be arguing with reality. That's the great irony of atheism, is that they hold to descriptive claims as the source of all truth, the Matt Dillahunty, truth is what comports to reality. Oh, the reality is you sleep with a guy. That's reality. The reality is people are religious. If you believe that religious belief is all downstream and caused by chemistry, evolution, natural processes, which you would, any atheist would eventually have to bite the bullet on this if they're going to be consistent. To interrupt it, you're going to have to violate the guillotine. You're going to have to go against the is-ought gap to say we ought not be the effects of nature. Imagine saying that. Imagine having a view where you say we ought not, from an atheist view, we ought not be at the determined effects of nature. Now, a Christian says we ought move against some of our natural proclivities, some of these things. But we have a justification for being able to do that. We have the categories to explain what that is. We have a worldview that says move in the direction toward godliness, away from being an animal. We have a justification for that. They don't have to believe it, but the justification is there. They don't have one. They believe all things are determined. All of your beliefs are determined. Why are you confused that Christians believe what they believe if you hold a view that it's all determined? I mean, it makes no sense. Same thing with like a Calvinist. Shout out to my Calvinists in the chat. How can you be confused that someone acted not in accordance with God if they were to completely determined to. They just weren't elect. They just didn't get the sprinkle of irresistible grace. Can you set up him versus voice of reason? That would be funny. Murder the Media, $5 says nothing. Thank you so much for that. Zorscht, I was never conspiratorial about the bagels, but my wife got about 46 points on me in Scrabble with the word Jew. Way too many points. That's funny. They have the most points in Scrabble. That's actually a really funny skit, Zorscht. Like, I could see that being a short with, like, the truther music. You know, the truther music that everyone uses. But, like, have you ever looked into Scrabble, bro? He reminds me of Randy from American Idol. Seriously, dude. He's like a skinny, he's like a vegan Randy. Dog.
Of specific actions or policies. When someone prospers,
zooming in,
it's
please.
seen as a blessing
Please.
rather than the result of
I'm gonna time my
strategy,
zoom-ins,
skill,
too.
or circumstance. This narrative discourages digging deeper. Why investigate poverty's
match
root
the zooms.
cause if it's simply God's will or the devil being busy? Why challenge injustice if it's part of a divine test? You learn to accept outcomes without question and to feel powerless in the face of problems that
Zoom
are
out.
actually
5,
solvable.
4, 3,
now
2, 1.
imagine
Thank
you
you.
could trace the real reasons
I love
behind
producing this
anything
show.
you care about. In
Can we
your
get a zoom in?
career, you'd pinpoint which habits
we get a
truly
zoom in?
drive promotion. Maybe they're networking, skill building, or time management, instead of hoping for a blessing. In your health,
get a zoom
you'd
in?
identify how late night screen time
Zoom in on camera
sabotages
1,
sleep,
please.
which erodes focus, which fuels stress, rather than attributing fatigue to just getting older.
What
In
is he
society,
What is he even saying? What is he even saying? He doesn't even know where he has no idea what he's doing. Looking at the data, sleeping with a neutral will make you a single mom. That is the data, isn't it, Steelborn? He doesn't want to look at that data. All right. Here's another one.
And we also have logical and philosophical arguments against incoherent deity concepts. Philosophers have highlighted classic problems. The problem of evil.
That's a terrible argument. One of the worst arguments atheists have ever come up with. Starting with Epicurus. More like Epicurus.
I wonder if his eyes get smaller when he puts his glasses on.
I don't know, dude. I mean, he needs bigger glasses to make his eyes bigger. The problem of evil is such a joke. I can't even believe it's resurfaced as a type of argument. It goes like this. If God is all loving and all good and all knowing, and evil exists, that's a contradiction with his very nature. Well, no. You'd have to argue his very nature is to prohibit things that you don't like. That's all the argument is. Things I don't like happen. If God real, why bad thing happen? That's the problem of evil. That's the entire problem. Right? I'll do it again. Problem of evil? What is that? If God real, why bad thing happen? By the way, evil would need to have some sort of standard to be the privation of. It would need
I am the
something.
cause for all the zooming. Say something nice to me or it will continue.
No. Get out of here, Vagine. Nobody likes you. Nobody wants you. Your culture sucks. Stop moving to America. I'm tired of seeing y'all on my playground.
If God is omnipotent and perfectly good, why does gratuitous suffering exist?
Gratuitous? Who determines gratuitous? Who determines what's necessary and unnecessary? Deblippy. Jimbob. Deblippy worthy.
Omnipotence paradox. Could an all-powerful being create a rock so heavy that even he couldn't lift it?
That is retarded. I can't believe you're doing... Well, I can believe you're doing Reddit tier shit because this is Deblippy atheism.
I'm sorry, but if God was all powerful, he can create something that he can't do, then he would just be as powerful to undo that thing. So if God hypothetically created a rock in such a way that he couldn't lift it, he could just as well lift it. You dumb shit.
If yes, then there's something he can't do. Lift the rock. If no, then there's something he can't do.
Dude, this is one of the dumb... Who came up with the rock shit, by the way? A god is so powerful, he can do something. He can make something that he can't do. If he was powerful enough to make something he can't do, he would be just as powerful to undo that thing. It's like, what?
Create the rock. There's the divine
If God real, why lift rock, bro?
hiddenness issue. If a loving
Divine hiddenness? What do you mean? That's not a Christian view.
God exists and wants a genuine relationship with humans, why is the evidence so ambiguous?
What? What do you mean? It's not ambiguous. Even naturalistic, atheistic scholars agree that Jesus Christ existed. So the only question is whether you believe Jesus Christ was God incarnate into the flesh or not. But if God was incarnate, if the second person did incarnate and take on human nature, by the way, incompatible with evolution, for you Evo Christians out there, if that were true, it'd be completely consistent. You're just arguing it isn't. You're just saying it, DeBlippy. Okay, DeBlippy. Spiral, what's going on? $5. Can God make a rock even he could not lift? Sir, this is KFC. Want some... Oh, God, dude, Spiral. Nice.
These arguments point out internal tensions in many theistic systems. Unless a believer can offer a coherent resolution with testable predictions or definitive evidence,
No, that's a category error.
atheism remains a rational default. And we also have logical...
No, dude. Atheism is not rational because atheism can't account for rationality to begin with. The atheist view reduces to that your own rationality and reasoning is accidental. Can you imagine holding a view, being arrogant enough to point at Christians and be like, dude, your belief in God is irrational. I mean, this is like fairy tale stuff. And you're like, what is your reasoning accidental and caused by chemistry? And they're like, yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Did you just hear yourself? Your own reasoning is accidental firings of chemistry that's produced accidentally as a mechanism over time. Right?
Yeah, so what's the problem?
Okay. What does Jordan Peterson think of this question? If God real, why does his dad leave? Well, that's a good question. There's definitely something to be said about those who have missing fathers. No matter what the background is.
I can't stand listening to my own voice anymore. Please make it stop. Please find a replacement for my disgusting street urine voice.
I'm trying, Vagine. It's just, I'm trying. You always interrupt me, too. Always interrupting me. Always interrupting. All right, what else does this guy have? Christianity caused this. Okay, this should be good.
They say history repeats itself, but only if we forget what it taught us the first time.
Please do a zoom in. Were you just crying?
There was a moment in history when Christianity didn't just grow, it took power.
Yeah, it was excellent. It was like 2,000 years. Something crazy. I mean, it was epic.
Not
Very well. Now I will be zooming. Behold.
Zoom.
Zooming.
All I want to
Zooming.
do is a zoom,
Zooming.
and a zoom.
You have
Vagina.
done this to yourself.
Meme TV. JB, did you miss the amount? On what? Vagine? I didn't see the amount. Sorry. Did I miss the joke? I'm sorry. I'm so averse to her right now. I'm sorry. Did someone give $250? Is that what happened? Did you? I didn't see it. If someone gave a super chat or a Bob chat for that much, holy moly. Thank you so much. Now, I have to ask, was that in favor of keeping Vagine or removing her? Was that in favor? Didn't even want to look at Vagine. Yeah, I'm so disgusted by her. Was it to keep her? Please not to keep her. I mean, I will take. I really don't want to. I really don't want to have a fundraiser to keep Vagine. There aren't great replacements, but the great replacement, that's funny. There aren't great replacements, but she's dude, she's getting on my nerves. The Bob chat in favor of removing her. Goal! Hallelujah. Thank you so much. If there's anyone else in favor of removing Vagine, please use Bob chat against Vagine. Against her. I'm against her. Thank you so much. I agree with you. The more I listen to atheists, Nick says for $10, the more I think there's a real chance that even after 1,000 years of eternal torment, they'll still be like, but how do we know this God? Yeah, dude. They're in a bad place. This is why it can't be intellectual. As foolish as I am, all the time, I try to be like, what's wrong with your brain, bro? What's wrong with your head? What's wrong with your egg? What's wrong with your life? It's got to be, from a Christian view, it ends up being spiritual, in which case you can't approach the atheists from a spiritual lens because they just reject the supposition of that there's anything called a spirit or a mind. Anyway, they can't tell you what a mind is, by the way, ever. Thank you so much, by the way, whoever sent the... I thank you for the very generous tip, but I also thank you for agreeing with me and being on my side. There have been a lot of Vagine defenders. A lot of them. Like, kind of a surprising amount. I refuse to listen to her voice because, as Jay would say, she's so dumb, make her super black. Well, the thing is, Steelborn, I've been trying to find these other voices. And whoever's into, I don't know if it's Spyro or Spiro or Spyro, I don't know how you pronounce your name, but any of the nerds out there who do coding, I want to tell you as a streamer that there is a massive missing in the world of TTS voices. The reason is, they don't include sort of like broken English, like slang, way of speaking. They're all just very computer-like, like people with accents. There's no character. Whatever company or widget maker or whatever you call it, a plugin, I don't even know. If you're all listening and you're looking for a really good target, a really good product, the missing element for TTS is unique, funny voices that can talk in the way you want them. Like, for instance, I really want a ghetto person. I want, like, some character. Whoever does that, they're gonna be great. I mean, I don't know if you'll make money on it, but I would pay for it. I would pay a voice I really liked for TTS, I would pay like $200 for it. Like if it was on a cart, it was like, oh, you want this voice? I'd be like, if it fit what I wanted, I would pay $200 for it.
Metaphorically, not spiritual.
Spyro says, I'll look into it. Very good call out. AI might actually be good for this because AI can do TTS. Yeah, the other thing is, Spyro, is it has to be compatible with Stream Elements or Streamlabs or any of these other things. I use Stream Elements. For some reason, Streamlabs is messing up on me. Stream Elements is the more basic version. And there's so many streamers who are starting to use TTS, but they don't even know what they're missing because it's not made. They don't have, like, that flawed element. It's so precise. And I don't think it's a matter of writing it incorrectly either, because the computer has to deal with what's written, so I'm not sure if that solves a problem. You guys write terrible English.
Fire me if you want.
Yeah?
I have already talked to Jimbob.
Yeah?
Jordan Peterson is very interested in my services.
Which services, Vagine? Don't even tell me. Actually, I don't even want to know. You could probably record Jasmine Crockett and use AI and make it speak in her voice? Could be. Could be. What about a black woman in an African accent? They have that, I think. Takwifa. Oh my gosh, Gennady. The Wakanda News. I mean, that would be funny. Here she comes again. Virginia.
Fire me if you want. I have already talked to Jimbobbing.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson is very interested in my services.
I know that. You don't have to tell us twice. That's true. It's not the same services. Forgive me. Things haven't been going so well.
Politically.
Doesn't impermanence imply meaningless? I feel like a lot of the argument centers around the argument for why should we be there.
Well, I think for the atheist, I would argue, and I think you can do this with subsequent arguments, is I think the atheist view reduces to nominalism, that there's nothing really steady about anything. Everything's in flux and everything's a particular iteration. Maybe looks like the previous thing, but it's not exact, and so forth. And so if that's the case, everything's in flux. So I don't think you can have any meaning without any universal truths. You know what I mean? Like, how could you? How could you? But if you're arguing, because you use the word impermeable, like not being able to move through, is that correct? If what you mean by that, I don't know who asked the question, but if what you mean by that is like, if things can't transfer, ultimately, how could there be meaning? I would agree with you. If there's nothing called knowledge or truth that has its own ontology, that's actually, in a way, not physically, but actually, maybe there's a different word. Maybe if actual means physical, I'll use a different word, but there's an aspect of reality that can transfer meaning, but it can't be reduced to material. Then without that, it's meaningless because it would all be reduced to matter. And there's no meaning. You can't find meaning in the matter itself. You can't find it.
Legally and imperially. And what happened next wasn't a golden age of faith. It was the beginning of something far worse, far darker.
I want him to do a hook shot so bad.
This wasn't revival. It was regime. This wasn't love your neighbor. It was kneel or die. When Christianity came to power in 380 CE, it didn't elevate the world. It inherited an empire and then made sure no other worldview could compete.
What? What are you talking about? Well, that's not even actually true. There was actually a movement that you couldn't be Christian, and that was then removed. That's what's so funny. This guy's historically illiterate. The rules were actually historically against practicing Christianity. There was a consequence to being Christian, and there still is. Now, it's not a victim stance, it's just true. It's historically true. And it was actually the legality, making it legal to be Christian, which was the shift that made Christianity stay for that long. There was a conversion of a particular emperor, by the way.
I have been loyal worker to you. I have rubbing your back, washed your sausage, and eaten it.
You are
Please,
disgusting,
if
Virginia.
replacing, I would like it to be a handsome chocolate man with reasonable-sized glasses and clever atheist takes.
There he is. He's
He is
here.
not my husbanding. This is not the nepotism.
He's right here for you, Virginia. He's right here for you. We all kangs. Jason Scholl, what's going on, Jason? $5, chocolate rain.
It rewrote the
Chocolate
laws,
rain.
outlawed the alternatives, and built the theocracy so dense it dimmed the light of inquiry for over 1,000 years. This isn't just
What are you talking about? It's a total reverse, dude. An entire empire converted to Christianity, and there was a time where it was actually stifled by other force. You idiot.
What would you say if I told you I was mentally retarded?
EPEX says, they literally had debates and councils to determine what the truth faith was. It wasn't immediately outright oppression. Yeah, it's like there is a philosophical, theological war, and then there's the use of force, and that's still today something in question. To what extent do you use force to order a society? It's a great debate, by the way. It's a relevant debate still today. What informs the use of force? By the way, where do you get rights? I don't even believe in rights, but I could at least argue from a Christian perspective that without the Christian assumption that humans have some sort of dignity that's not found in nature, by the way, egghead, deblippy, James Unworthy, the assumption that humans have any dignity distinct from other animals, crabs and pigs and monkeys and sloths and the rest, that's going to be defended from a Christian paradigm, not an atheist paradigm. From an atheist paradigm, there shouldn't be anything wrong with complete oppression. Power wins. That is your model. That's the naturalist model. That's what's in nature. You're just being consistent with nature. Force. I mean, how could it... what?
Please no fire. Do not fire. You don't have to pay me in Target gift cards anymore. I can ghetto. We was gangs. What that is. What that is.
You're insufferable.
Muhaji.
You're insufferable. Go dodge a cow, bro. Lady. Intel Wall, $5 Jimbob. Cool it with the anti-Kareem Abdul-Jabbar remarks. Bro, just do a hook shot.
Ancient history. It's a warning. So let's go back to where it started. Back to when Christianity came to power the first time.
Did you get one set of teeth before the other? Like, which one did you do, the bottom or the top?
And the human travesty that occurred under their leadership.
Uh-oh. Ruh-roh. Let's talk about the French Revolution. Let's talk about an explicit, anti-religious, violent approach to revolution. Let's talk about that.
Christianity's rise to political power.
Well, what's wrong with either of them, by the way? The atheist one, the Christian one, the Muslim one. What's the problem?
380 CE. Let's unpack it step by step. Not just what happened, but why it mattered, and then why it still echoes today.
Yeah, let's get into it.
The key event is the Edict of Thessalonica. Issued by Emperor Theodosius I, this edict made Nicene Christianity, the form that upheld the contentious divinity of Jesus and the fallacious doctrine of the Trinity, the only legitimate religion of the...
Fallacious? It's not fallacious. Steal more than $5. Based on the evidence of his teeth, he is reverse Charlie Kirk.
Roman Empire.
Reverse Charlie Kirk.
This wasn't just about religious...
Can you imagine that? The inverted Charlie Kirk is just all gums on the bottom.
Preference. It was about power consolidation. We authorized the followers of this law to assume the title of Catholic Christians. The rest we judged to be demented and insane. That's a direct quote from the Edict of Thessalonica. Does that language sound familiar? Before 380 CE, Christianity had gone from a persecuted...
Wait, isn't it the atheists who call religious people insane? Isn't that what you guys are trying to do, is make people classified as mentally ill and insane? Isn't that exactly what you guys are doing?
Sect to a tolerated faith under Constantine, but it still shared space with paganism, philosophy, and pluralism. After the edict, pluralism died. You were either orthodox or outlawed. Christianity was no longer competing in the marketplace of ideas.
Cool. Why is compete? Hey Ben Shapiro. Why should we compete in the marketplace of ideas? By the way, let's say, what makes it so that one idea in a society, in an ordered society, right? Are rights an idea? Well, okay, cool. So if rights are an idea, What is the competitive element other than the Force itself, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? Well, I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we still, by the way, you want to compete in the ideas? I have an idea that rights and the Constitution and the Enlightenment Project is a failure. That's my idea. Can my idea that maybe repealing the 19th Amendment is a good idea? The idea of repealing the 19th Amendment. Are you okay with that competing in the marketplace of ideas? I bet not.
It now had monopoly power backed by the emperor's sword. There's a suppression of competing ideas. With Christianity in power, Neoplatonism, a leading school of philosophical thought, was declared heretical, even though early Christian theology borrowed heavily from it.
That's not a contradiction. Realizer Network, $5. Dude's looking in a blind quail with that thing on his background sign. I know, dude. Using minivan windows as glasses. It's so weird. It's like he hired his friend who does decals, like terrible decals for cars, and he was like, "Can you make my background for my YouTube?"
Mystery religions like Mithraism, Isis cults, Eleusinian rites, and all earlier forms of Christianity, which offered spiritual depth and symbolic rituals, were branded as demonic or idolatrous.
Yeah,
Traditional Roman religions and temples were shut down or repurposed.
So, good. Take them over. Consecrate them. And? So?
Sacred sites were destroyed or converted into churches. This wasn't just theological warfare, it was a cultural purge.
So?
One of the most dangerous shifts was that wrong belief equaled crime. Heresy was no longer just disagreement, it was a threat to the state.
Well, by the way, heresy, not only now, but at the time, is people who are claimed to be within the church. So those people still within the church would still be on board with making their beliefs the dominant belief. Okay? Do you understand? These are, when you say something's a heresy, these are people who are projecting to be Christians. Like Arian wasn't being like, "I'm a total atheist, bro. You know, this is all made up and shit. By the way, this is my Christology." No, these are competing views inside Christianity.
You could be exiled, imprisoned, or executed for questioning orthodoxy.
Based.
Theological disputes became civil wars, Arians versus Nicenes, Donatists versus Catholics, because belief was...
Yeah, they're all believers, dude. Notice how you're not arguing that there's some oppression against atheists.
now tied to empire. This was a new imperial model. Bishops were now government officials. Yeah. Councils of the church had the weight of imperial law.
Oh, hell yeah.
Rome's administrative structure was co-opted by Christian
Are you just doing a history lesson, or are you going to give a value judgment on any of this?
Leadership, who now had both divine authority and legal jurisdiction. This laid the foundation for the right.
Those dang Christians took over, and we couldn't sacrifice our children anymore. Yeah.
Before it was pluralism. It had diversity. It allowed the pagans to do horrible shit to animals and children. It was the Christians who came in and said, "No, you're not allowed to do that anymore. Those bad Christians. Those are bad Christians. Those bad Christians." So ignorant and bigoted against them pagans.
Rise of papal power in medieval Europe.
Those pagans are minding their own business, banging goats, burning babies alive. Then them Christians came in and making it legal. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Inquisition, crusades, and church-run courts, and the eventual belief that disobeying church doctrine was equal to rebelling against God and the state.
So? We have sin. You have rights. You violate a right, you go to jail. You violate a sin. What's the difference from your view, bro? That's just, rights are just the atheist sin system. That's it. You violated my right. Okay. So what happens? We're going to put you in jail. Oh, is that so you're organizing society based on your belief? Some sort of meta-ethical position that you ought not violate XYZ?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I guess so. Our rights is our sin system. You have a sin system too. Oh.
This shift transformed Christianity from a movement on the margins into a regime at the center.
Good. What's your point, bro? Do you have any arguments at all? This guy's a joke. This guy's an absolute joke. Let's watch his shorts. Let me see. Political and legal force, faith, deconstruction, belief,
weaponize love, weaponize love. Gonna weaponize my love. Yeah.
So the verdict? Atheism is not proof of no God. It's the rational response to insufficient evidence.
Nope, that presupposes evidentialism. You can't use that model on truth itself, bro. Laws of logic. Why do you believe in them? What's their ontology? What's their status?
I don't know. The laws of logic are in my brain. I found one. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I found one. The Blippy did it. The Blippy done it.
Because no theistic claim.
Y'all, listen to the sound of his voice. It's the voice of white supremacy and smugness. It's the voice of oppression.
Look, it's only half that.
Christian, Islamic, Hindu, or otherwise, has ever met the public, repeatable, testable, explanatory criteria. Atheism holds that it's unwarranted to believe in gods.
Cool. Show me where rights exist. It's unwarranted to believe in rights by your own standard. Cooked, over, done, goodbye. That's why he won't debate. Dude, I'll cannibalize this guy. Turn this guy into a barbecue event. This guy does a lot. Look at how much talking this guy does. Unbelievable. Oh, here we go.
Don't debate Christians. Not because I'm scared of what they believe, but because I know where those beliefs come from. I know the source material. I know the tactics. I know how the stage is set. And I refuse to validate a magic trick just because the audience believes in it.
Oh, what a cope. You're such a pussy. Do I have to do a zoom in for that? A pussy. Coward. Loser. 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 That actually sounds like a reason you should debate. If you know all the tricks, if you know all the background knowledge, if you have all the information, if you know all the doctrine, you should debate because of that.
I don't debate him.
This isn't arrogance, it's alignment.
No, it's cowardice. You're a coward. You're a coward.
It's recognizing that a bad premise doesn't deserve a good platform.
And yet your entire channel is based on platforming bad ideas.
And that saying no to delusion isn't closed-minded.
How is debating? No, that's circular. You're starting with by the way, this is fallacious. Saying I won't debate this because it's I won't validate delusion. No, debating would be arguing and exposing delusion. If Christianity is delusional, it would be on you. It would actually be probably some unbased, unjustified duty for you to reveal it as delusional. Why wouldn't you do that?
It's clarity. So if you've ever been told that declining to debate means you're afraid, or that you owe religion the courtesy of a seat at every table, this video is for you. Because sometimes the most responsible thing you can do with a myth is walk away from the performance. Don't debate.
What? such a cope. Such a cope. I don't. This is cope-tastic. I mean, this is like top level.
This is why it's not because I'm afraid not get my ass kicked. It's because of some virtue reason. Aight? It's some doing virtue stuff.
Cleansing the nation is holy work. God's truth matters more than your feelings or your rights. After all of the monstrosities committed by Christianity, how do we not realize that biblical doctrine is literally the makings of a monster?
This guy is he's such a actor. Like, what is he trying to go for here? Like, what is he? What is he trying to do? Like some sort of like theological Malcolm X or something? Look, dude, atrocities, as you call them, which were perfectly aligned with naturalism, by the way, occur cross theologies and cross atheist societies. So human beings themselves, as a category, from your view, just another animal, commit just as much damage to other human beings and other animals as other animals. You know, even if you said more, you couldn't reduce it to Christianity or religion, right? There's plenty of examples of atheists from a secular view taking on this position and destroying religions, by the way. I mean, this is just like the lowest tier shit. No wonder you don't debate, dude. This dude's skin looks like it's made of duty. He was shoved in a locker by Christians in middle school. I don't know. I think it's fatherlessness, honestly.
101. So no, Christian nationalism isn't some new extremist movement. It's the logical outcome of centuries of death-obsessed theology, authoritarian teaching, and apocalyptic...
No, Christians, if anything, we're obsessed with trampling death. We're obsessed with defeating death.
Indoctrination. It's not...
What's wrong with indoctrination?
Not a political hijacking. It's the social consequence of tolerating death doctrines. So I want to ask this question: what could be gained if...
Ayo, Jimbob, let me ask you a question, my dude.
Yeah, ask me. What can be gained
if we let go? If everything I've said so far feels heavy, it's because it is. We've inherited a theology that taught us to romanticize pain, worship obedience, fear our own questions, and wait for heaven while the world falls apart. But what if we let that go? What if we stopped calling death a reward, stopped calling silence obedience, stopped calling trauma God's will, and just started living? Imagine if all of the...
Yeah, well, let's do that. I'm going to start living. And what happens when you let people start living and they go back to that? Is that okay with you? Is it okay? Let's just say, oh, we'll hit the reset button. Like we did with the Scandinavian countries. We said, equalize it, men and women. Women, you can go out and get all these jobs and pursue all these things. Well, it turns out people's choices produce the same disparity. And so I often wonder, these atheists, when they say, well,
let's hit the reset button. Many rivers to cross, and it's only my will.
What happens when you hit the reset button and everyone goes back to Christianity by choice? What happens then?
Bob Jim, please do not fire. I want to poo in the loo. Poo in the loo. Poo in the loo. Poo in the loo forever.
You don't have loos. You don't have loos. You mean street? You mean roo? You mean poo in the roo, right? Not in the loo. You guys don't have loos.
The energy we've spent waiting for Jesus, glorifying suffering, and defending the Bible.
Stanley, $5. Imagine a conversation between this guy and Neil Mustache Tyson. Too much, bro, dude.
Hold on.
Was rerouted into something that...
I see you've been watching my stuff. Hold on.
actually helped people heal. What could we build instead? Perhaps cooperative.
You guys can't build shit. Y'all can't build nothing. Christianity built the most beautiful things. Christianity builds amazing civilizations. What does atheism build? Nothing. Brutalism? What does it build? Square things? Gray square things? You guys got nothing. You guys can't build shit. This dude is the not so fresh prince of smell air. He rejects the Father because the Father rejected him. That's correct.
Businesses that
The Logos.
prioritize people over politics. Maybe community-based education that values curiosity over conformity. Or maybe even ethical frameworks rooted in compassion, not commandments. Maybe joy-centered spaces that celebrate life, art, and rest. Therapy and body work that helps us process generations of grief. And maybe we get to the place where we elevate critical thinkers over charismatic performers. Maybe we get to a...
Okay, buddy, I see what you're trying to do here. I see. Just put a beat behind it. I see what you're after. He's just he really is a stupid man.
Yo, Jimbob. Let a player take over your show. Naam sayan, pimp.
Naam sayan, pimp. Verse 2.
A place where our children are safe to ask real questions, even ones that seem dangerous. We don't even know what our communities are capable of because so much of our collective imagination has been outsourced to the sky. But the
Outsourced to the sky.
This guy's dumb as fuck.
This guy is more obsessed with Christians than he's purple rank. Also, you need to pipe down in the comments. Marilyn, I am Vagine.
Oh,
Fight
she is
me.
Vagine. She is Vagine. Fight. Vagine wants to fight Marilyn. What's going to happen? Every breath I take, every move you make, every single day a step you take.
truth is, we are here, we exist, we matter, and we don't need a death cult to tell us that. We need a new imagination, one that honors this life, one that celebrates this body, one that sees joy, justice, and curiosity as sacred. It's
What? Sacred? Dude, you just contradicted yourself. You believe something sacred? I don't know. Can you show me empirical evidence for sacredness? Please, sir? Or justice? What's this idea? Wait a second. Justice? I'm trying to look. I was trying to find I was exploring the scientific method there, Blippy. And I was like, you know what? I need to scientifically demonstrate justice. And so I started, observing things, and I wanted to repeat things. And so it turns out I couldn't find it. I couldn't find justice out in the world. See how broken these people's views are? The very standard they use against Christianity or theism in general or any other religious belief is empiricism. It's evidentialism, empiricism, naturalism, science, all of that. And then they do their big rants, and then they end with,
We gotta get back to justice and dignity and goodness in life and joy.
what? This guy prattles like a woman. He needs the sad music every time. This should have been taught. This should have been going the entire time.
Let's talk about the feeding of the 5,000. Is this a miracle? Something doesn't feel right, but it's hard to say out loud because the words they use sound so holy. The stage looks so polished. The mission sounds so good, but beneath the songs, the sermons, and the smiling faces, some of us started noticing patterns. And not just spiritual ones. We noticed
You noticed a spiritual pattern? What does that mean?
pressure to recruit.
What?
The emotional cells.
So what? Pressure. Hey, speaking of recruiting, if anyone's in the chat who hasn't experienced or attended a divine liturgy, please find your local Orthodox church, not Coptic, and attend. Tell me how I'm recruiting right now. What's wrong with it, Urkel?
pitches disguised as testimonies. The leaders living in abundance while the members were told that struggle was a sign of spiritual maturity. We saw performance mistakes.
Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on. Let's do this here. Ready? Let's do this. See this. This should be fun. This should be real fun.
Holiness, holy moly. Holy moly. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
Mistaken for transformation, sacrifice mistaken for strategy, and silence mistaken for submission. And then one day it hit us. This doesn't feel like church, it feels like a scheme. Not one built on product, but on belief, on loyalty, on fear. So in this breakdown, we're not just asking, is this church a pyramid scheme? We're asking something deeper. What happens when sacred systems adopt the structure of exploitation and call it faith? Because if you've ever felt guilty for questioning, ashamed for leaving, or confused about why belief started to feel like bondage,
dude.
You're not.
I think I can work with this guy. I think I can work with this guy. This is Kid Cudi. I think I can work this guy. I think he's got something.
You were just hurt. Now imagine if I said to you, if you're single, you were just cheated on. This is an ad hominem and genetic fallacy. It attacks an assumed origin of the disbelief, you're hurt, instead of engaging with the disbelief itself. It dismisses your reasoning by attacking an alleged emotional history. Now, what it reveals is that this isn't just dismissal, it's deflection. It quietly admits that church hurt is a thing, but shifts the blame to you for how you may have responded. It implies that the only valid
Can you guys hear that, by the way? Can you guys hear this? Oh, you can't hear it. Oh, shit. Hold on a second. I can't believe you guys missed that whole thing. That sucks. That totally sucks, bro. Why can't you hear that? Son of a. Hold on. I just did that all. There we go. You guys missed it. Here we go.
You were just hurt. No, something doesn't feel right, but it's hard to say out loud. Because the words they use sound so holy, the stage looks so polished, the mission sounds so good, but beneath the songs, the sermons, and the smiling faces, some of us started noticing patterns. And not just spiritual ones, we noticed the pressure to recruit, the emotional sales pitches disguised as testimonies, the leaders living in abundance while the members were told that struggle was a sign of spiritual maturity.
Oh, damn.
We saw performance mistaken for transformation, sacrifice mistaken for strategy, and silence mistaken for submission.
Snap.
And then one day it hit us. You were just hurt. No exit strategy. Now let's get back to our conversation. You followed man, not God. You used the map, not the GPS. This is a false dichotomy and also a red herring. It creates a false binary. You either follow God or you follow people.
God, I can do a whole album with this guy. You kidding me? You kidding me? I mean, I don't know why I hear it twice, though. How do I mute it? I hear it double on my end. What do we got here? Where's the... Oh, I hit my mute. Where's my mute? I hear that twice. Mute. There we go. Nope, still doubling. Can you guys hear double? Do you guys hear 2 or you hear 1? That right there. Do you guys hear 2 or 1? I hear 2. It's like a quick 2, so it's repeating somewhere. I don't know where. Oh well, I'll figure that out later. Says Mr. Strawman himself. Wait, where? Militant. Oh, the militant guy is here. This guy sucks. Yeah, your Tiny Desk concert set should help. That's right. That's right.
Oh, snap, dog. Oh, you damn, dog. Oh, damn. Yeah.
It wasn't revival, it was regression, and history remembers it as the Dark Ages for a reason. If Christianity returns to global power in the modern era, not as a private faith, but as a dominant political and legal force, we are not just facing a spiritual revival, we are facing the collapse of pluralism, personal freedom, scientific integrity, and social infrastructure. It wasn't revival, it was regression, and history remembers it as the Dark Ages for a reason. If Christianity returns to global power in the modern era, not as a private faith, but as a dominant political and legal force, we are not just facing a spiritual revival, we are facing the collapse of pluralism, personal freedom, scientific integrity, and social infrastructure. It wasn't...
Why? Wait, what? Pluralism. What is this weird... What is this weird simping for pluralism? I don't understand it. Hey, Jimbob, why not Coptic? I'm Coptic Orthodox. Love your channel and learn tons of... love you guys. Sharif, I'm glad you're closer. But your Christology is incoherent.